Oh, back to Yankee Stadium, where the one and only Zack Meisel is set to join us on the heels of a Guardians sweep of the New York Yankees. Zack, how you doing? Thanks for joining us today.
I'm happy to join for the Athletic Hour. This is an honor.
We're having Jordan Rodriguez from LA on later, so this really is the ultimate athletic sports show.
All right.
And the least athletic people to be a part of it.
I've been pretending to know sports since way before 2016.
And by the way, we launched in 17, not 16, so there you go. You got that wrong.
I screwed up a graphic. Who would have known?
Zack, the Guardians won yesterday again, 5-4. They beat Gerrit Cole. They beat Cam Schlittler in the first game of this series. They got Carlos Rodon on the mound today, looking to make it a clean sweep. We talked about coming into this series. This may be the toughest gauntlet of pitching the Guardians' offense has faced all season, and so far, they've been up to the task. What has been the most impressive part, in your mind, of these first two games between the Guardians and the Yankees?
Yeah, I think it just looks like a more complete lineup, does it not? I mean, I was looking at, they show the OPS for every hitter on the scoreboard here, and in most places now, and I just remember last year looking up, and you'd have days where Nolan Jones was hitting fourth and his OPS was 580, and you'd have Lane Thomas, who was just miserable when he played last season, and Bo Naylor, and there was just no hope, right? And then I'm looking yesterday, and most of the guys in the lineup are at league average or close to it, or a bunch of them are above, and it just feels 1 through 9 like you don't have to wait for Jose and the one other guy hitting in the lineup to come up to think that they have a chance to score a run. It could be the bottom of the lineup with Rocchio. It could be, last night Manzardo and Hoskins go deep. So I just feel like it's a more complete group, and they've had their struggles, but it's almost like they've played to their competition. They've thrived against the Phillies and the Tigers and the Tigers stink right now, and the Yankees, and then they struggle against the Nationals and the Red Sox, which doesn't make sense. So, but it tells you that it's in there, right? There is some ability here that maybe we haven't seen from this lineup in 7 or 8 years.
We've talked all week about Jose's numbers in New York and how outrageous they are, and sure enough, he's delivering. Is this Jose figuring things out and starting to look like Jose again, or is this just taking advantage of an environment where he's obviously very, very comfortable?
Or is it Jose seeing that Aaron Judge is hurt now and then thinking, oh wait, maybe this is the year that I'm supposed to win MVP? I don't know. His under the hood numbers have looked great. He's hitting the ball as hard as he ever has. His bat speed is fine. I think there's just little things, he's chasing a little more on pitches up and away, so pitchers are targeting that zone more, and so he's hitting a lot of fly balls to center field, but it's nothing that's not correctable. And I think you're seeing it the last couple of days. I think he was pressing too, because you've seen him show more frustration outwardly than maybe we're accustomed to seeing. And so I think he even felt I know this is in there. It's only a matter of time, and we're seeing it.
Zack, you're around this team every day. We know they all mean something in the standings, but did this series and next week, when the Yankees come to town, do these games just mean more inside the clubhouse?
Yeah, because I remember talking to, I think I've shared this, talking to Jason Kipnis a couple weeks ago about the 2016 team that made the World Series. Nobody thought that team was going to be what it ended up being. And they had to sort of prove to themselves that they were good. They were a little bit above 500 for the first couple months, and then they went on that 14-game winning streak, and that's when they realized, oh, okay, what we thought internally is actually legitimate. We can do this. And I think there's a little bit of that with this team just because it's so young, where, Austin Hedges and Stephen Vogt can tell you, hey, we're good and we can do this, but you need to bear that out on the field. And there's no better place to do that, and there's no better pitching to try to conquer than what they're facing this week.
You mentioned 2016, and I was thinking this before you even said that. The Andrew Miller trade was sort of the signal of the organization of hitting the gas, and we're going to go. There is no better season, it feels like, than right now to hit the gas and make a Miller-type deal again. We're getting into trade season. Do you think they're going to be aggressive as buyers at the deadline? Like, I don't mean Lane Thomas. I mean a big swing. And where? Where would you target? I know we still got 2 months to go and injuries can play. I know. But as we sit here today, where should they target and will they take that swing?
There's 2 months to go, but they've had those thoughts already. They are positioned as well as you possibly could be positioned. If you think about it,
Absolutely.
the payroll is as low as it could be, right?
Yep.
The farm system, even with the graduation of Travis Bazzana and Taste of Lauder, is still pretty stocked. And the roster is so young, and you look at AAA and see someone like Angel Hanau, who Keith Law at The Athletic just had him ranked as the number 12 prospect in baseball. He's a shortstop or a middle infielder. Where is he going to play?
Yeah.
Rocchio seems like he's got shortstop covered. Travis Bazzana's got second base covered. So they've got a bunch of those, guys Cooper Ingle, who really well-regarded prospects, close to being ready or ready, and nowhere to put them. And so they're in a really good spot. The American League is weak. The division is really weak.
Yep.
You can go be aggressive and essentially get whoever you want. The only hang up here is what's bugging everybody, and that's the looming lockout. No one knows how to price players signed for multiple years. There's a level of uncertainty because you don't know if there's going to be a season next year or a half season or what. And you don't know what the landscape of the league is going to look like. Are you going to have to spend $100 million more to get to a salary floor? No one knows what this is going to look like. So early conversations, no one knows who should bear the extra risk. If you trade for someone signed through next season, you don't know if there's going to be a full season. Should you pay full price for that player? So that's the one maybe complication that I think teams are tossing out there as trade talks begin the very, very preliminary phase. That shouldn't prevent teams from upgrading, but just something the Guardians are thinking through because they always target players with multiple years of control. In this case, maybe it makes more sense to make a big splash for the best available rental. Really,
Can
the
I
Guardians
interest you? Can I interest you in
Yeah?
a Tarek Q. Scooble? I'm serious. I'm serious.
What's his middle name?
I don't know. But I know it goes against everything. Like, you're right. Multiple years of control, that's their target and everything. With everything you just laid out with the lockout, I know it's interdivisional and you don't trade within the division. The Tigers don't care about that. The Guardians aren't re-signing Tarek Scooble. So is there a world where they could get into that market because they'd certainly have the prospect capital to do it?
So ordinarily, I would tell you the division tax should not be a thing that matters. The Guardians tried to get Jack Flaherty a couple of years ago, and the Tigers, for whatever reason, set a higher price than whatever they got
Everybody else.
from the Dodgers for Flaherty. I think Scott Harris, their GM, I don't think he would bite the bullet. That is a huge ego hit if you trade Scooble to the team that has been a thorn in your side the last few years. Knocking you out in the playoffs one year. It's bad GMing, but it's a person. He's already admitting fault if he has to trade Scooble because he didn't trade him over the offseason, and he also didn't do enough to prevent where the Tigers are at right now. And then if you end up trading him to your division rival who doesn't spend money, doesn't do anything, and yet is at the top of the division year after year, and you can't beat that team, and then you're going to trade your best chip to him.
I hear it. I get it.
You make sense in a vacuum. I just think Scott Harris is accepting defeat in multiple ways, and it's honestly exposing him as being bad at his job, and I think he would trade Scooble to 28 other teams first.
Zach, when you look at the Guardians, they have struggled mightily to develop hitters until recently. Bazzana, DeLauder, Ralphie Velasquez in AAA, Cooper Engel, the guy you mentioned earlier whose last name I never pronounce, it's Genoa or EA. Hanau. Yeah, it doesn't look like Hanau. All these guys are coming up the pipeline and producing at the major league level offensively in ways that it feels like none of their top prospects before last year for the last decade had. Has there been a change in philosophy from the organization in terms of targeting certain prospects for their hitting styles, in their approach? What has changed that's allowed the Bazzanas and the DeLauders and the Ralphie Velasquezes of the world to have this level of success at the stage they're at?
Yeah, I think I told Zack this last week on his wonderful podcast that you should all go check out. But I remember having a conversation with a front office member a couple of years ago. My son was like 2 years old at the time, and he loved baseball. And this person in the front office, I joked, I was like, hey, you want to just sign him to a contract now? And the front office member goes, well, unfortunately, he's not a – is he going to be a 5'7" middle infielder from the Dominican Republic? Because that's what we prioritize here. And I think for a while they thought that they could game the system and it would be a competitive advantage if they got these versatile infielders who could make a ton of contact and they could teach power. And then they had enough examples of that not working. Owen Miller, Tyler Freeman, even Andres Gimenez to an extent. And so they finally just, they did something novel and they just started drafting good hitters, right? Like, look at the dudes that they have now are huge, right? Manzardo, big, strong ox, right? Ralphie Velasquez, big, strong dude. The guy that they drafted in the first round last year, I don't know if he'll fit the mold, but Jace Lavalette is a mountain. So, I think that's helped. They just drafted pure good hitters. Bazzana was like, his floor was so high because of the contact ability and the hard hit rate. And Chase DeLauder, same thing. But if you look, like the last 3 years, their top prospects list, like the top 10 has been all hitters every year. And now we're just finally seeing the fruits of that labor. And you can just see a different style of position player that they've prioritized.
Zach, last one before we got to get out of here. Is there a previous list of Australians who have landed in Cooperstown, or is Bazzana going to be the first?
I think the most famous Australians now have to be like Bluey, Bazzana,
Lloyd Graham,
Deladova.
Sure, there you go. Yeah,
Andrew Gaze.
and then Deli. Yeah, I mean I don't think it has quite the impact that like the Dodgers signed Ohtani for $700 million, and then they made that back in Japanese marketing deals within 5 seconds. So I don't know if like the Guardians have a deal with some Vegemite company or something, but or Foster's, which is Australian for beer.
The Wiggles.
But they should get on that soon because Bazzana looks like he's going to be a star.
Hey, 30 seconds. I know we got to go. Ralphie Velasquez and Cooper Ingle. Will we see them this year and when?
Yeah, I think so. Ingle for sure, just because the bat, like there's nothing left to accomplish. And he's been at AAA and they think he can take to the outfield quicker because he played it in college. Velasquez, they've got to find out where he fits, especially if Hoskins and Manzardo keep hitting. But they love him. Like they're obsessed with him. He just turned 21, but they've even said like he could be a factor late in the season, even if it's just a cup of coffee.
I'm Team Ralphie. Mark me down on Team Ralphie.
Dude
that
can
is
hit. Dude can rip.
Zack Meisel of The Athletic, the most athletic of the trio of athletics we have here
Jeez.
today. So, Zach, appreciate you, and hopefully you get to witness a sweep here at
Definitely the
Yankee
best
Stadium.
golfer. Definitely the best golfer, no question.
And hit up this Zach for golf tips this weekend, not the Zach on the panel. Zach, we appreciate you. Talk to you soon.
I'll be taking $1,000 from Nick Camino on the golf course in about 24 hours. Thanks, boys.